On the reg, let's keep moving to some topics for our Jacob and me segments. What is the first one we're going to do this week, Jacob?
BlizzCon and Diablo.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we'll link a video for it, but the videos that were released for this specific topic that we're going to give you some context to right now. So what happened over this past weekend? BlizzCon happened. I think it was Anaheim Convention Center, I believe.
I think that's right.
I guess it was an anticipated week where a lot of Diablo-specific fans were excited to hear a new Diablo game. A lot of them were thinking it was going to be Diablo 4. So during this little Q&A press conference kind of thing, they announced a new Diablo game. But the Diablo game was called Diablo Immortals, which is a purely mobile Diablo game for iOS and Android. And it was not received well.
Not at all.
So I would definitely Google or just YouTube it, BlizzCon fan reaction or whatever, BlizzCon Diablo Immortals fan reaction or something like that.
Yeah.
That should be able to pop something up, and it is a blast to watch because it was literally, like you said, like it was dead silent for like everything they were trying to like cheer up the crowd with. It was just like no.
It was probably the most cringeworthy AAA press conference I have ever seen. Like all the E3s and like PSX and what are the other PAX stuff, anything like that. This was just like the level to which they killed the room when they said that like they're gonna be moving on to the mobile platform and they're like so excited for this game that you could kind of tell because I think they had almost like scripted pauses on the teleprompter where like they were expecting like applause or like the guy would like say something about the game or whatever and like he's all enthusiastic and he like stop and it's literally like dead silent, like not a sound. And then after the press conference at some point they continued airing it too. They had like an open Q&A where people could like walk up to a microphone.
And that's where it got to the pinnacle.
And it went a little bit crazy.
The first question the guy asked was, is this some kind of out of season April Fool's joke? And I was, oh my! If I was the guy on stage and someone asked me that, I was just like, oh, I'm done, dusted.
Yeah.
Like GG no re, I just lost. And it had to been really, really difficult to be on that stage for that, honestly. And I don't know why they were expecting applause. You know what I mean? It just. Not that
I don't think I would ever expected it to be as bad as it was. And in any case, most of the time, like for example, Microsoft at E3, like they have a bunch of people in the audience that are Microsoft employees that are basically just there to be like, I guess Blizzard didn't do that at all. It was literally just a fan event.
Actually, they're probably gonna do that.
Yeah, because it was really bad. So even at you have some people cheering, for like the cameras or for like the audio of it. But this was literally just complete dead silence. And there were some people that were like laughing and cheering when the guy asked the question. And this guy he became like BlizzCon man sort of thing on social media and drew a whole I saw like a bunch of people from IGN, for example, were saying like how like shameful this guy's actions were and like how embarrassing to him and like they felt bad for. And like I feel bad for the studio. Like obviously there's a lot of people who like obviously the studio believes in this and there's a lot of people that they're working really hard on this game.
Mm-hmm.
And to have like their work received like that is something that you never really want to see. But I think he was definitely cynical in the way that like he came up to the microphone like that and said what he said. But first off, why are you having like a publicly aired Q&A like that? Like it doesn't. And can you imagine like PlayStation after their E3 showcase is like, oh, now we're going to take questions from the audience. It's like, what are you doing? That you open yourself up to not even criticism like this, but literally anything. Like someone could walk up to the microphone and say literally anything.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like live broadcast on I don't understand why something like that was allowed.
I think also Blizzard's just a little bit full of themselves in the sense like they hype themselves up. They think they're a bigger entity than what they really are, even though they have like a really big market and a lot of loyal fans, but I don't think not that they're out of touch or like that, but I don't I don't think they realize that they're human and they can mess up. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah. Then like
The following guy was even
the second
like
guy
better.
came up and he was like, so there's no plans at all for this to come to PC, or is this gonna be like strictly mobile? And like I'm sure they had already answered that question, and they kind of answered the question with like the first guy, like that it was just gonna be like a mobile experience. And he was like, no, like they were like, oh, you guys all have phones, right? Like, come on, we all love
and then the other guy's
Diablo.
like, you have phones, and then there was no, yeah, we have phones, but what?
It was just super cringeworthy.
Yeah, what they should have probably have done, regardless of wherever the next Diablo game stage is, announce this game and say like, oh hey, also we're working on the next Diablo game. We don't have a release date, but it's in the works or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that would have repaired anything kind of blowback, but also I think that should have been in the initial plan. And then reading a couple articles from you got the IGN article, like I got like a Eurogamer and Kotaku article saying I think the original story said that they were planning on it, and then today they updated the story where Blizzard said that they weren't planning on doing or releasing or announcing Diablo 4 at all, which I think was a bad move. I don't know. It kind of is time for a new Diablo game, but also just I don't know. Mobile is just
it's been like 6 or 7 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, mobile is just not a especially with that kind of Blizzard. Like when you go to BlizzCon, you're there for PC gaming. You're not there for like even console gaming like at all. But then when you like console players, I mean, I would say I don't like mobile gaming as much, and we're console players primarily, and we do have PCs, but PC players, they are just like another savages. Like they're true savages.
Master race.
Yeah, and then especially on mobile gaming, like their opinion on mobile gaming, that's probably even worse than what a console player is. So I don't know. For me, I wouldn't have been surprised about this.
Yeah. Obviously, I think, as I said before, that the way that they open themselves up to public questions like this is a questionable practice at best. It's like they should have, if they're gonna do something like that, they should have like taken tweets, so like they could screen them, and then you're able to frame it in like a little bit more positive light too, because you can like pick and choose the tweets that you use, and not just have like a random person say anything at the microphone in the middle of your press conference and like publicly humiliate you.
Yeah.
But this is kind of what might have happened to, say, Bethesda, for example, if they didn't announce Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 at the end of their press conference, because like all they had was like they had that really weird like rock band performance, not rock band the game, but, like,
for Rage 2.
for like going into Rage, and then they had
and
basically a whole like reiteration of everything they said about Fallout 76. And then like had they not had those two teases at the very end, like that press conference would have been completely pointless. And then also that same like E3 year was like, this is a very similar thing of like if Microsoft had not announced Gears of War 5, where they had like the Gears Funko Pop game was the first one, and everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be like, they start the teaser or whatever, it's like, oh, it's gonna be Gears of War, like it's gonna be a new Gears of War game, and then it's like, oh, then there's like Funko Pop Marcus like chainsaws the wall or whatever. You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then like it moves into the next game, and you're like, oh wait, now here comes Gears 5, and then it's Gears Tactics. And you're like,
hey,
what is happening here,
guys? We don't play Final Fantasy here.
Yeah. And so like then they finally got to Gears 5, and everyone's like, oh, okay. They didn't really have much for it, but it's like, okay, Gears 5 is coming.
Yeah.
So I know that, especially those two guys that were up on stage, it must be especially painful for them because they know what's in the works, like in the pipeline, and like maybe they just weren't ready to reveal that. But yikes, this was really bad.
It could not have been that hard to just create a Diablo 4 logo, and then there you go, guys. And then you could have changed it for the cover and everything.
Yeah, even look at like what Nintendo did with Metroid Prime 4. Literally the only thing that they didn't announce like a release date, a title, nothing. It was literally the number 4 with like the Metroid like little lightning bolt ball thing, and that was it. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's Metroid Prime!"
Yeah.
Like all they had to do was put like D4, like D with like in like the Diablo font and like 4 in Roman numerals or something like that, and like that's all they would have.
Or like the one like line that makes the D.
Yeah.
And then all the other ones in between, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, this was definitely like I feel bad for them, and that guy probably shouldn't have said what he said. but Diablo or Blizzard kind of brought this on themselves.
And that's where I disagree with you. The guy had like all the right to say something like this because I think Blizzard needs to wake up in a way. Because I don't know. I like World of Warcraft for a time, but they haven't. I mean, Overwatch, yeah, but that was more than a couple of years ago. And like, what have they really done since?
Overwatch, I think, was like 3 winters ago.
Yeah, and they haven't really. I know they're slower at making their games. They're kind of like a Rockstar kind of timeline, but still, it's just, bro, come on.
Maybe 2 winters ago for Overwatch. I'm actually 3 years seems a little long, but maybe it has been. 'Cause I don't think we've done like 3 like Year of the Dragon things or anything like that.
Probably.
Wait. When were the Olympics? 2016? No, I think it maybe has been 3 years.
Yeah.
Because I remember they had like the Lucio event when the Olympics were in Brazil. So, yeah, maybe it has been that long.
Dun, 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 dun.
In any case, our other topic.
Oh, wait, okay. But no, what is our next topic?
Fallout 76.
Fallout 76. But before we get to Fallout 76, go ahead and let us know if you think the guy had the right to say this at the press conference. Do you think Blizzard was in the wrong for not announcing the next Diablo? And also, yeah, that's it. Actually, that's it. I don't know. I can't really ask any other questions.
Should major companies take open Q&As like that?
Yes.
Because that to me is the biggest problem here. Is it like, what are you doing?